The Legends of Mythrous' Strange Lands. Prologue. The islands didn't exist more than a week ago, but now they were there, and if the gods were in man's favor, they would stay there. Warfare on Earth was at its most predominant time in history. The war started like most wars do. The struggle to claim land leads to fighting for resources, and then eventually everyone picks a side. The leader of men was King Alaric. He was a king from a smaller land with little resources, but his worth was validated in battle, which made his word golden in the eyes of any man who knew his name. It was King Alaric who first suggested they fight back against the mage threat, an impossible feat to suggest at the time. To fight back against an army of men who sold their souls to the devil in order to harness a power no man should have. Captain James Kelly was the first mage, a man who should have been killed the day his mother named him. Kelly sailed the Caribbean under the black, taking prizes from any ship he saw. Rumors spread across the Caribbean that James Kelly and his crew could move the seas, that they could blast a ship out of the water without a cannon, and that they were quickly becoming more powerful than wizards. The mages took care of the wizards first. In the mages' eyes, wizards could never be what a mage is, and they were right. The concentrated power they learned to absorb made their magic far more powerful than the wizards. What wizards did in years from books and mediation, a mage can learn in a day. A power captain, James Kelly, claimed he learned from fairies, a power that most claimed hollowed out a man's soul and left him a shell of what he once was. King Alaric knew that the only way to fight the mage threat was to use their power against them, an idea that the kings laughed at him about. They said that man should not deal in magic, and rejected all King Alaric's attempts to seek aid from the dwarves or the elves. The king said the elves had nothing of use they could offer, and that dwarves were too stupid to fight for what mattered. King Alaric would not be cast away so easily. He convinced the elves to talk reason with the kings of men. That once man was slaughtered, the elves would be the next target. And only if they fought together with men would they have a chance at survival. The kings of men waited for the elves' reparation, and temporary treaty was called between the races. The battle raged for months, men and elves battling together in hopes for their final plan, to trap the mages on an island prison. When King Alaric learned that the king of men didn't want to just trap the mages on the islands, but all magical creatures, the young king took sail with a small crew of trusted men. They sailed to the island of fairies and learned the power of the fairy just as Captain James Kelly had done. The power that made them strong, but just like all men, it drew them mad. King Alaric's drive to kill Captain James Kelly burned brighter than any other force inside him. He sailed his crew into the last stand of man to the island chain the elves had grown from the sea floor, the predetermined prison for all mages left on Earth. King Alaric knew that if he killed the pirate king in time, the elves wouldn't be able to complete the spell to raise the barrier and trap any poor soul who stood below its threshold. The mages didn't make it easy. The turbulent squalls rocked the ships of men and crashed them against the shallow reefs. King Alaric's ship sailed on and fought through the whirlpools, swells, and spells. King Alaric held the helm in a death grip as the spray of the sea washed away the unnerving fear of death from his scowl. The black, paint-chipped ship led the mage fleet, and a man cloaked in black stood at the stern. His arms stretched out, and a long wooden ferrule extended from the pirate king's fingertips pointed at King Alaric. A blast erupted from the wand, and the seas were cast aglow in a powerful white light. King Alaric's ship lay splintered on the surface of the waves until they crashed into nothing. King Alaric floated to the bottom of the sea. His last glimpse of life was watching the blue sparkle of a barrier cast over the sky.